a seat. Look at you guys looking all fancy. Perfect timing. I'm sorry, I didn't let you finish. Okay. Okay, and you were in Fort Myer, you said? Okay, cool. You ladies walked in just in time. We are introducing ourselves, saying what you do, and then something interesting about yourself.
Okay, hi, my name is Lisa Lockwood. I'm from Los Angeles, but I just drove up from Boca. And something interesting?
Something interesting, yeah.
Oh, what I do, we're in real estate. Well, we are in real estate. So we sell and acquire homes, and we're investors in property. And something interesting that I do, I play tennis 4 days a week, which I love, and I'm qualified. I'm a tennis mom.
I played this morning too. My legs are sore.
So we love playing tennis for fun.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hi. We'll continue around and then we'll have you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Patricia. I sell drugs. So I work for a pharmaceutical company and I also own my own apparel company. And what I like to do for fun is TikTok videos for my kids when they my vacation. And what is it you asked me to talk about?
What you do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Patricia's the first person I met from Florida as long as I've actually lived in Florida. So, yeah. Darling.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany. I am a real estate agent and a property manager. I manage 4 Airbnbs. I am from Los Angeles. I live here in Florida now in West Palm Beach. Something interesting about myself?
Yes, there's so many things, but just one to start with.
You're my sister.
The most interesting one is my sister.
I got you.
No, I had something.
You're so interesting, Tiffany. You got.
I
You got.
have had many different careers in really many different fields. I worked in law enforcement for 11 and a half years, I worked for education for 10 years, and now
Oh yes, the Wi-Fi is here on this whiteboard if you need it. Tribe guest.
It's a glare.
Oh. Okay, and I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself other than the candle lady, but can you tell us your name, what you do, and something interesting about yourself?
My name is Carol Edmond. What I do, I would like to say I make people happy through sense. What I like to do,
Just something interesting about yourself. Mm-hmm.
well, people always find that me being self-sufficient is interesting, so I'll say that.
Okay, cool, awesome. Well, thank you again for being here. I think we have a wide assortment of experiences, so we don't necessarily have to start from a foundational level. We can take kind of a case study approach as well, because there are some similarities in different industries that are represented. Like you're in product, she's also in product. Real estate, there's legacy here, so there's a lot that we can explore. Quickly, we're going to, So just in terms of the agenda, I'm going to quickly go over just what AI is at a very high level. We're going to talk about some practical uses. We're going to get hands-on training. And then we're going to talk about the ethics and best practices. We're going to talk about some resources. We're going to have a Q&A section. And then we're going to just close and do a little bit of networking. So the goal is to kind of wrap up by 7, but if you guys have more questions and we want to do some more training, we can also do that. And then also, I would love it to be very interactive. So if you have questions, just feel free to, shout it out, raise your hand so that we can all learn. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have my laptop in front of me since it's kind of like a spur of the moment.
Okay.
Is that okay for the hands-on portion?
Yeah, well, you can also use your phone. I've done a lot of prompting just through, there's voice commands in ChatGPT, and then you can also type. Yeah. So what is AI? Who has an answer they would like to? What do you think AI is? Miss Lisa.
I mean, I know that it stands for artificial intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
but I think beyond that, it is about the future of technology. I think it's about taking every aspect of what you can learn on this planet
Mm-hmm.
and having it being processed by a computer
Mm-hmm.
to then be able to um, give you back that data in
Mm-hmm.
some form, whether it's something that looks like a human has a computer or a computer, or we're already using it with Siri and
Right.
Alexa.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, AI, artificial intelligence, has been around for a very long time. I think like the first mathematicians and scientists were using it 20 or 30 years ago. So it's not necessarily something new, but the application of it was more for just machine learning, more for robotics. So now over the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, we've been using it more as consumers. And you probably have been using it a lot longer than you realize. So if you use Amazon, you've probably been using AI for a while because it's basically looking at your pattern of purchase and then it's transforming that into data. So when you go to order something and it has a list of things and you're like, oh, how did you know I like X, Y, and Z? That's artificial intelligence. Or if you're using something like Microsoft Word and you're typing and it like fills in the answer for you before you finish the sentence, that's also artificial intelligence. So though people are a little afraid of what it can potentially do, many of us have already been using it. As I mentioned, Amazon, Facebook. If you have Siri or Alexa, you definitely have been using artificial intelligence for a very long time. Gmail, Instagram, Canva. So it's basically just a tool to help you just be more efficient, not have to waste time. It learns as you use it, and so it produces that feedback for you sooner than later. I wish I had my clicker thing with me. Oh, do you have one? Yeah.
And then it was weird.
Right, yeah. So now that we know we've been using AI for a very long time, I do want to focus it just specifically on business uses right now. Everyone in here is a female business owner. So how I like to look at it is it's helping you to work smarter, not harder. So I think a lot of ladies here are probably also moms. You may have a significant other. So you're already wearing a lot of hats. And how I like to look at AI is it allows me to wear many hats well instead of struggling to make sure. All right, I'll just move this to the side.
Yeah, click on this. And let's see if we can do it. Yeah, so you can just exit that out.
Okay. So practical uses of AI for business owners. Sales and marketing, operations, customer service, product development, the list goes on and on. So if we talk specifically about sales and marketing, I'm actually going to pull Patricia in on this one. We were talking on the phone yesterday, and she's looking to rebrand herself and reposition herself in her industry. And so we had a lot of conversations around how to do that. I think sometimes it can be intimidating because you're in your head, you're trying to figure out what is the right message, what is the right platform to use. And AI can just help you, depending on what tool that you're using, to now just come up with a lot of different ideas. And then you can decide which ones reflect you as best or reflect your brand as best. Also, in terms of marketing, how I use AI, I work with ChatGPT and Claude. and I haven't created an original like LinkedIn post in, I don't know, maybe 6 months. What I do is I look at my data and I find what my top performing posts are and who that audience is, and I plug that into the tool, and then it now generates ideas and prompts and images and a plethora of assets that I can now use for social media. Let's talk about a specific example. So with you, let's say for marketing high-end real estate, do you guys have challenges in terms of marketing, finding your audience, or what are some marketing or sales issues you guys may be facing in your market?
Yeah, I think obviously luxury is a niche market, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're identifying a particular group that can purchase at a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
But we also don't want to alienate anyone and make them feel like they're not welcome. But I do think the biggest challenge is, from a social media standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
is identifying what should be posted, what looks luxurious versus what looks regular.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why we wanted to come is that I think this would be great while you're saying to use AI to really populate what's luxury. Obviously, AI is going to research that data
Yeah.
and be able to give us much better ideas and not context, but content, thank
Mm-hmm.
you, that would skew more to our audience.
Your
I think
audience.
that's the biggest challenge.
Right.
You're talking about us as the human,
Right.
looking through and just whatever we see, whatever we can pull and find,
Right.
versus really relying on AI
Mm-hmm.
to really just do that for us. So
Right.
I think in that element would be
Mm-hmm.
great. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe when you talk about real estate, maybe we could focus more on Tiffany in that. And
Okay.
For me,
Mm-hmm.
maybe for me and my brand, not
Okay.
just Lockwood, but it was Celeste.
Okay.
Just understanding how I can use it more for me personally.
Right.
Would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I saying yeah, similar. What I also see that could be helpful for everyone, especially for our community, I feel as though we're a bit behind the ball. I'll just be very honest because we overthink our content, and so like if I'm looking at LinkedIn, I see white men posting anything, but it's the consistency that now builds their thought leadership. And so if you're working on your brand, I would say focus on building thought leadership in your arena, how you define that. And so that you could use ChatGPT or other tools for that so that you're not having to come up with like content every single day. It can help you come up with a strategy. And then also with yeah, and then also in terms of Tiffany with your audience, I think what we were speaking about earlier, the specific prompts that you can use, because you can say, hey, I have a real estate agency that's based in Boca Raton, right? What are the networking events I should be, engaging with? What are the different communities that I should be engaging with that match this ideal audience, So maybe you don't want to alienate anyone, but you want to make it easy to find who your customer is. And so based on your data, who's your ideal client, that information you can plug into your prompt and say, this is the kind of person that I'm looking for. I'm based in Boca. It's going to be able to use GPS to say, okay, you're close to town center, you're close to this, you're close to that. And so it can map out for you, these are the key relationships that you could be building. So you can make it very specific. Did you have a question? No? Okay. We can move to operations and supply chain examples.
Question. You mentioned that on LinkedIn that have like logos, analytics.
Mm-hmm.
Are you gonna go over that?
I can, yeah, definitely. I don't know if all of the platforms allow you to export your data, but LinkedIn is very good for giving you all the data, your followers, their emails, all that information. So I can go through that.
And just piggyback off of what she just said, really time to really go through even on the sales and marketing side. So you talked about using ChatGPT and Claude, you're looking at the data, you're finding your top posts, and then you're trying to learn what appeals to your audience. Just give a visual of
Sure.
how you did it.
Yeah.
So you can see, okay, we're in alignment.
Cool. So for inventory-based businesses, one of the challenges that I know, let's say for instance, you mentioned you have eyelashes, correct? And then you're doing candles. So this is her candle, by the way. So now when you're doing this candle, you're ordering this container, you're ordering this label, whatever else, the WIC and everything that's in here, right? So when you're ordering that, do you have kind of a tool or a database or something that's telling you, okay, our containers are low, we need to repurchase them? Or is there anything that's triggering the operation side of your business? No. Okay. Yeah. So then that now you're keeping all that visual data in your mind, right? So that's not going to give you as much creative space. And then if you, let's say, have an off day, then it could like prohibit you. So in terms of managing your inventory, you can create different thresholds. You could also, I'm assuming maybe use Shopify or one of those, use Wix. So even, I believe with Wix, I'd have to double check, you could do a download of your sales. And so you could say, okay, ChatGPT, here are my sales for the month. Please analyze, where am I wasting money? Where am I over ordering this product? You know, which product is selling the most? Who is the person that's buying it? So if you have data, you can now use that to just enhance your business. Yeah. And then that would be the same thing for, let's say, your eyelashes. I'm not sure how that business model works, but if you have a certain clientele that is your ideal person, you mentioned you just moved here, so even prompting, hey, I'm new to Miami, I'm trying to find this type of customer, what are the different activities that I can do? So just using a base of what you want to achieve and kind of reverse engineering it. Customer service, that's a pretty simple one. A lot of people spend a lot of time creating websites, but at the same time, you have a lot of customers calling you. Like maybe someone's like, hey, Tiffany, is the house still there? Is it open? And you're like, okay, I can see you saying you don't like answering the same question over and over again.
No, actually, I'm opposite. I love to talk.
You do? Okay.
I don't mind.
See?
I don't mind that part. I don't mind like talking and interacting. I don't mind when people say, "Oh, I don't want to waste your time." I feel like I'm going to be doing this service for someone.
Right.
So why not?
Might as well. Okay. Well, one of the things you could do to enhance that experience is you can create a chatbot for your website. So you can create something that just takes the data that you have already listed on your website, and you can have a chatbot there that allows the person to engage, and then it could even recommend or book something directly with you. Product development, we spoke a little bit about, but let's say, for instance, one of your candles is a bestseller. You know, you could plug in, this is my bestseller, I want to create a monthly campaign around it, or I'm thinking of expanding the product line. I don't want to just do candles, I want to do scents, I want to do pillowcases. So you can say, I have an idea to expand this product, give me some ideas. And then further from there, you can say, give me a list of the top 10 manufacturers or wholesalers that already have these products. So just with the examples I'm using off the top of my head, I just want to show the consistent theme is that we don't have to do all the work. We don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You can use AI to do a lot of the problem solving for you. Oh. Oh, hold on. Okay, so we'll start with the hands-on training. I can actually walk through how I do my LinkedIn, as you mentioned, just as an example. Other than social media, are there other things that you have like a use case or something that you're actually wanting to experiment with using AI that we could also use as an example?
Other than social media? That's tough, 'cause I feel like social media has just taken every business by storm.
Yeah.
If you're not there and active.
When you talk there, the operations and managing inventory, I didn't think about it until you brought that up. And I'm always managing my Airbnb inventory in my head. Like, do I have enough tiles? Do I need to order more tiles?
Oh.
You know, all of these things. And
Okay.
I'm taking a picture of my storage cabinet, and I'm literally managing it in my head.
Okay.
But if there's somebody else that can do that.
Yeah, so walk me through the process. So you have someone come to the Airbnb, so you check it before they come and then after they leave.
Right.
Okay.
So I have a cleaning person that comes and they clean.
Okay.
But I'm coming to make sure my cleaning person did everything. I need my lights on. I need it to smell a certain way. I need like all of the boxes to met.
Okay.
And the music needs to know. So those type of things I physically have to do.
Mhm.
But if I have someone stay here prior and we only have white towels, we only have white linen. So the linen turnover is high because women in makeup and stuff like that.
Right.
So I have to throw away a lot of towels.
Okay.
So ordering towels is a constant thing that I kind of need to keep up with, or
And it's more like a case by case basis. It wouldn't be like every 3 months, or it just depends on the season, I'm assuming, because it fluctuates.
If I looked at it, it would probably be on a 3-month basis, but I don't keep it in my head.
Right. But you would have, for instance, I don't know what the platform is that you manage your Airbnbs with, in terms of like when someone, is it just on Airbnb or, and so do you have like a back end Excel document or something that says, oh. But I'm saying Airbnb doesn't give you that option to see who are your,
But there are third-party software that you can use, but I just use my head.
okay, well.
Which I probably get off of some AI. So.
Right, exactly. Because then if you find the consistencies in your Airbnb business, that's not something that you're necessarily going to be able to strategize off the top of your head. But if you had a tool that's capturing all that data, it can find what are those patterns that are happening. And so once it identifies those patterns, it can predict for you, this is what you should be doing a month ahead of time. Or this is your highest season. Maybe you think your highest season is summer, but maybe it's spring. I don't know.
100%
But,
is winter. But
oh, winter. Okay.
It does do that with check-ins and check-outs.
Mm-hmm.
But in
I
regards
think she has a good point though, because it's not consistent, because we have people come in, someone could stay for 3 months, someone could stay for 1 month, someone could stay for 6 months.
Mhm.
So or a full year. So I don't think that there's enough frequency of the actual same thing
Mhm.
for AI to help. But I do think it can help in ways that, hey, you order these towels on Amazon, and you can set an alert for the next 3 months to check the towels to see if you can, or like you can.
Your workflow,
you can create
yeah.
something that could be consistent
Right.
for you, but you can't make AI completely check in on what needs to be done because the schedule's not the same. That's the only reason why, right? You have to have some consistency. For example, orders, if someone's getting candles, she knows based on her inventory each month about how many candles are being ordered, but there's also a peak season, right? Maybe holiday season.
Yeah.
And now you check in, we probably want more candles. So
Right.
you have to have more inventory now for this season.
Yeah.
And I think probably recognizing that because you know our season, actually we have more people in the winter.
right, more people, it was consistent in the
more-
winter, but for a long
Longer period of
So
time.
right now, November, they're going to check in, and they're not going to check out until April.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's the summer that shocks us.
But I would even still look at it and say, okay, this is what our client profile looks like. You know, how can we optimize our Airbnb reviews or our, whatever the marketing thing is that you use that people are like, oh, I want to stay here because this looks good on the picture. So you can use it to optimize what is existing, even if it's not like consistent every 6 months or something like that. Yeah. So if you guys think of another example, I'm going to just go to my LinkedIn.
I don't know if it's another good example.
Okay.
I don't know, in my head I just thought about podcasts. But even
Ooh.
is that a good example?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we'll do 2 examples. The first example is I'll log into my LinkedIn, and I'll show you how to download your data, see your top performing posts, and then we'll use that information and we'll use it in ChatGPT to say, based off of my top performing data, give me 5 podcast ideas, episodes that I can. Okay, so let me find it.
For me, it will probably just be like managing, like how to really maximize the CRM.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you have clients on the books, these clients are going to stay with you for years.
Mm-hmm.
And creating in different ways to engage with them, considering that I offer more than just a policy.
Right.
We're looking to, craft a
Right.
legacy experience where they can get access to different professionals and maximize our relationship.
What CRM are you using?
So within the platform, they have something built in.
Is it like Dubsado or what? Don't know.
It's
Okay.
like, once we log in,
Is this for your organization or is this for your business? Okay.
so the life insurance platform is named First Life,
Oh, okay. Okay.
and they have like a built-in system. So
I
you
would.
can download and extract.
Yeah. What I would say is if you have a CRM that you're using and it's specific to an industry, what I find challenging is that they will give like blanket messages. It won't necessarily be a message with your language, like your zhuzh, right?
When you said the suggestion about the chatbot, because sometimes you need your client to engage with with the education and information. Maybe that doesn't require a meeting, but you want them to be reminded, like, hey, the holidays are a good time
Right.
for you to do
You want to prompt their behavior. Yeah. So one easy thing that you could do is create like an email nurturing series with using your own voice. So then it takes your customer through your customer journey with your voice. I mean, you could use the base template that they provide for you as a starting point, but then you want them to build a relationship with you. So then you could use your tone to create that email series and plug that in. Okay, so I want to say it's settings. So as this is loading, one of the best, I think, benefits of AI for me so far is just it has allowed me to be very consistent. So instead of sitting down on a Monday and having to come up with like 10 different ideas, literally, this is the only way I'm able to post every single day consistently. It's because I don't have to come up with the ideas myself. Of course, okay, let me just find it. I believe also Instagram gives you a way to export your data. I'm not 100% sure about TikTok or Facebook. I don't think Facebook allows you.
I do know too.
Okay. Go back. Oh, duh, analytics, right there. So if I go to the analytics, go to impressions, and then also everyone here may have a different agenda. So for instance, if you're looking to increase your followership, you might be looking at one type of analytic versus if you're trying to build yourself as a thought leader, you might look at a different kind of analytic, like impressions versus engagement. So depending on what you're going after. This is a business profile.
So I want to basically
So if you go to,
change my profile to a business profile to get the analytics, is that how LinkedIn works? Because some, like Instagram and stuff like that, if you have a business page, that's where you can see the analytics. Is that the case for LinkedIn?
I feel like with LinkedIn, it could be personal or business. It's going to give you the data. I just so happen to have a business one, but I don't think it's like Instagram where you have to have a business type of account. Is there someone here that has a personal one? And okay.
Yeah, LinkedIn does show you your analytics for your personal account. Let me find it.
Okay.
So just when I clicked on my face, it takes me kind of to a home page, and then analytics is like just right below the.
So it's showing me analytics post by post, but I can't see like full analytics, like for you at work.
So let me just come over.
When you hit your impressions, you're going to see them. So, post impressions.
Okay, there you are. So for instance, if you click on this here, and then now you can say, let's say the last 30 days, or 28 days, whichever, and then you can now export it. So that's one way. Before you click on it, so that will now take you to Excel, right? But if you go here and just see, okay, this is my top performing post over the last 28 days, you can copy this whole thing, and then we'll go into ChatGPT.
Copy what whole thing?
Say, click on your post. Yep. So this was your post, right?
Yep.
So you can copy this.
Okay.
Not the comments, just the post part.
Okay.
Okay, and then so just copy that, and then we'll just all get to that place. And to do the exercise, it doesn't necessarily have to be your top performing post, you can just walk through it. But does everyone have something that they can copy? On LinkedIn, okay. Okay. I would say for business owners, I think LinkedIn is probably one of the most, I think it gives you the highest return on your time in terms of not just building an audience for the sake of entertainment, but you're already talking to decision makers in your audience, in the community. So, okay. So impressions. So one option that you can do is exporting the data into Excel. So that will give you over 28 days or however many days you put, it'll give you all of the information. What I like to do is I do it on a week by week basis. So I'll say, what was my best performing post from last week, which happened to be our post together from last Friday. So then I would just copy this. Okay. Most people in the room, I think, are comfortable or familiar with ChatGPT, but I also would encourage you to try other platforms. What I like using also is Claude. And I started using Claude when I was getting a lot of, some of the responses I was getting from ChatGPT just felt very juvenile. Like I was getting a lot of emojis all the time, and it was like all these smiley faces. So I think they were going through maybe some like re-engineering. But depending on the tone that I want and depending on the data that I want, I'll go between ChatGPT and Claude. I do have the paid versions of both of those. But as I mentioned to a colleague yesterday, you don't have to have all of the latest AI tools. It's better to just determine how you're going to start and use the ones that are best for you to just get started with. So this is my history. It goes back all the way to, I believe February is when I really started prompting. But basically I would take that and then just start prompting. Act as a, let's say, copy writer and generate 5 compelling post ideas from my highest performing LinkedIn post. The copy is below. So let's see what we get. So from what I prompted, it didn't necessarily give me the layout that I would use for a post. I could easily turn these into podcast ideas, Lisa, as you mentioned earlier. But I'm going to show you guys what I actually use. I have a notepad that I keep all of my prompts on. So if I'm prompting for social media, if I'm prompting for my kids need help with their homework or something. So I have a different prompt, and once I get the prompt the way that I want, I just put it into a notepad so that I can just copy and paste it instead of recreating the prompt over and over. I don't know why my laptop is acting so slow. Okay, let me see if I can do it from my phone. Any questions coming up as I'm looking for my prompt list? Sure. Okay.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people, I guess when they prompt, they ask, like, or they say, ask me questions that'll, like, is that always necessary, or, you know what I mean?
It's making sense. So for instance, if I'm doing something, let's say, create a workshop template for me. I'm like, this is the audience. I'm having a 2-hour workshop. This is the intent of the workshop. These are the results that I would like to get. Create an outline for me. Before you create the outline, ask me any questions that are unclear for you to complete the task. So if it's something new that you're it's something you haven't done repetitively. So at this point, if I'm doing LinkedIn posts, I have like a structure that I use. But if it's something new, maybe you could use it for grant writing. You mentioned you wanted to do some grants. So once you start getting into the space of doing your grant writing, you can say, this is a list of the grants that I'm applying for. This is my introductory paragraph. Ask me any questions that are unclear so that I can increase my probability of getting the grant, right? So when you're prompting it to ask you questions, you're basically telling it, maybe I didn't give you all the information, and maybe there's something that I'm missing in the conversation, but I want this output to be as best as possible. So it'll kind of depend on the circumstance, yeah. So, so this first prompt, act as a copywriter and generate 5 compelling post ideas for my highest performing LinkedIn posts. The copy is below. Okay. That's really basic, right? But at the same time, let's say for you, Lisa, if you're doing something on, I don't know, are you more active on TikTok or Instagram, or what do you? Instagram, okay. So if this gave me an output that I love, and for instance, some people here want to be on multiple platforms, but maybe don't have the time to come up with content ideas, whatever. So if you say, I like the first idea, use it as a base to create 5 TikTok ideas, 7 Instagram posts, and I don't know, let's say Facebook post. So it's basically using the base that you've already said is okay, and then it's now expanding on top of that. So then, for people that you feel like, wow, I see you everywhere. How are you on LinkedIn, and you're on Facebook, and you're on Instagram, and you're doing TikTok, and a lot of them are using this. They're using whatever's their favorite platform, what is working well on that platform, and then they're repurposing it using AI.
Okay, so my question is, sometimes obviously we can connect, like I connect my Instagram to my Facebook because I'm really not a Facebooker at all. But I have, the most followers on Facebook. I just don't like interacting on Facebook. Facebook's not like my most comfortable platform.
Yeah.
But in that, what do you say to, there are possibilities, obviously you can link almost all of them
Yeah.
work together. But is that, some people like say they don't like that from a data standpoint, they don't want to see it all because we don't communicate the same.
Right.
Especially when, prior to probably about 5 years ago or less, I don't know, people who are on Facebook would know, like they didn't use hashtags.
Right.
So if I would post something on Instagram and link it, that's not how you talk to Facebook.
Right.
Right? So,
Yeah.
and then you kind of get less comments because they know that it's come from one platform to the other. I think
Yeah.
it kind of got into a place where people don't care after TikTok came, that it was just like too much for most people.
Right.
But what are your thoughts on, for lack of a better word,
Right.
linking all those
Right.
platforms together?
It depends on what your intention is behind it. If you just want to be present on a lot of platforms, then link them together because then it's just one click and you've now posted it across a lot of things. If you're trying to build an audience, then you have to build your audience based on that platform's best practices. So for instance, if you're posting something on Instagram and you have 30 hashtags, or maybe 30 is now too many, I don't know. If you take that same post and put it on LinkedIn, it won't spread at all because they're the opposite of that kind of social community driven. So you would have to let it direct what your intention is. So if you're like, hey, I want to build my audience on Facebook because that's where my clients come from, then you would have to have Facebook specific content. To just repurpose it will look like it's repurposed if you're just linking it together. But if you were to take something like this and say, make this appropriate for Facebook, and then you have like a virtual assistant or someone that now makes it specific posts it specifically to Facebook, then you could still be kind of, could be a better case scenario. But if it's just linking and it's not designed for Facebook, it won't give you the benefit that you're looking for. You're like, ugh.
No, I didn't do that, but I was just thinking you were going to say something. Maybe times have changed. You've got to
And I think you don't have to necessarily be on every platform nowadays, to be very honest with you. I think the person that has the ability to be present on all the platforms more than likely has a team, and it's specifically related to probably ads because the larger their audience is, the more they can benefit from that advertising dollar. But like, if it's not necessary, then just keep going the way. Just while we're here, I wanted to just talk a little bit about prompting because the use of AI is really going to come down to your ability to prompt well, because AI is not, unfortunately, it's not a mind reader. It's not going to know what the intent is that you're trying to get out of it. And so sometimes when people are like, oh, let me just go into AI and see, I need a solution, but their prompting is incorrect, then they get frustrated with the output. But it's only going to give you it's only going to respond based on what you provided. I think, Zakia, we were talking about prompting earlier. What was one of the prompting problems you were having? So we can make it hands-on.
I was forgetting to use in prompting was I remember you said last week that I had to tell it like what I want. So what I started to do is say, as a content creator, like if I wanted to create some content, or as a copywriter, but I didn't use the word act as. And I think those action words or whatever. I'm sorry, what words are you saying? The action words are part of the prompt. So when you said act as, that for me, like act, like ACT, like this is what I want you to behave as. This is the role I want you to take on.
Right.
You have to tell the AI how to behave, like who you need it to be, like what act you need it to be.
Right, exactly.
That's what I was missing in my
Right.
I don't even talk like that.
Right.
Office, write something, and I'm like, fix it. But
Right.
I needed to think, okay,
Yeah.
I need you to be a copywriter. I need you to be a content creator.
Right.
I need you to be, I said, let me see, be a business consultant for me and write a plan. Like, I
Right.
was trying to, just do it for me. But I need you to be that person that I don't have on my team.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like when you're creating your content or asking AI to create like your content for you, there are platforms that you're leveraging alongside of that to kind of make it pretty. So, for example, AI spits out your content for LinkedIn, and maybe you want to put it on something else versus just putting on a post, right? So maybe you go into Canva or you're going into a template or something like that, all these different platforms, and you can make it pretty.
Yeah.
And like, and some of them even have AI built into them.
Yeah.
So you drop that information in, let it do its thing, and like,
Yeah.
LinkedIn just added that feature.
Yep.
LinkedIn just added the AI, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's different. So it's like it's literally taking all of the work off.
Right.
With that feature, is it doing like, oh, I think you can make this type of post, or you should make it like well, that. Let me say I saw it, but I hadn't tried it yet
Yeah.
because I was just like, I don't know if you're like I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I haven't, but I just saw it and I was like,
Yeah. What LinkedIn has right now, they have an option for it to help you enhance your profile. And so basically, your profile is what attracts people's attention to get to you when you're building an audience on LinkedIn. So I did use it, but then at the same time, LinkedIn and other platforms are built for people that don't necessarily have our voice. And so there can be a disconnect between what it's generating for you versus you prompting it to generate what you want it to be. So more and more, like Canva now has they just released, I think last month, a lot of different AI tools where you could put in one of your old quotes or something like that. You can just plug it in and it'll generate a lot of different ideas. So it just depends on, for LinkedIn, I don't connect it with anything else. I just do the post and then I'll copy paste. And then one of the things I've started doing is adding more pictures. So I found my engagement increased that way. But in terms of Instagram, probably TikTok, maybe Facebook, you sometimes would want to use a template, but I don't do that with LinkedIn.
What I would like to share is that there's several different plugins now that you can put with ChatGPT. There's a Canva plugin, and so you can do batch content, like if you wanted to make
That's cool.
to make real short. So you would prompt ChatGPT to provide you 30 days worth of content and ask for it to do the output in a table where it has the question, the call to action, whatever it is you
Right.
want to structure it. And then it will put it all on the table, and there's a way to connect it to Canva.
Do you connect it from Canva or you connect it from ChatGPT? Okay, let's do it right now. I'm gonna
so you say create the plugin. So are you providing now that content to ChatGPT? You're able to upload like videos, pictures.
So because I attended a workshop 2 weeks ago, and that's what it was about. So what they did, they showed how to use the plugin with Canva and ChatGPT. And in ChatGPT, you can give a prompt, but now that you have a plugin connected, you can say, hey, make me a flyer for 50% off for
That's
holiday candle, and the colors are X, Y, and Z. Or you give it, let it know what your logo is, because the same
Look and feel, brand.
the same thing that's in Canva, you can prompt that you can add that into your prompt from ChatGPT, press enter, and it will be giving you the output from Canva. So they're together. Yeah.
What about like videos?
So in the example, I'm pretty sure you can.
Okay.
But in the example, I didn't see that in the workshop, but I watched a video clip and it showed how Canva you can kind of customize.
wow. Oh, sorry. So I just, yeah, so if you, let me close out of it. So you have to have Chat GPT 4. Yeah, I think it's worthwhile.
Yeah,
But
like gives you a different.
it gives you, yeah. Even I just started using this Dolly. I'll show you guys the pictures that it generated. Me and my daughter were working on it. It's actually pretty amazing. But just to get to the plugin she was talking about, I'm on ChatGPT 4, and then I just went to plugins.
That's only on the paid version, not the ChatGPT.
So some of, a lot of people are starting to use ChatGPT. So sometimes they're giving access in batches. So you
Oh, okay.
may have had access to ChatGPT for a longer time than others. So I've heard people say that I haven't tried because I've been on the freebie train. But because I've used plugins on the free version, but
Yeah.
they do not
Give you the
not having it.
right. Yeah. Okay. Let's play around with it because I know. Let me see if it's connected. Okay. So I am a thought leader, and I work with women business owners. Create a 7-day social media campaign around, let's see, what is it called? Giving Day for Thanksgiving? Giving? No, isn't there like a Giving's Day or something? Or I'll say Black Friday. Something like that. Okay, I'll just say Black Friday. Um, um, when when you're wanting it to generate in a table, it's just to say, please. I don't know why I say please. You don't have to say please, but please generate uh, the response in a tabular format.
That shows it a little bit about your personality.
But-
So
That I okay, and connect it with Canva. I've not done this before, but we will all learn together. Because this would be very helpful for what you were talking about. Like if you had like, let's say a list of quotes or something and you like plug it in to Canva. Do you know from the training if you already have to have, like in Canva, you can have like a brand kit and then it kind of uses that as an automatic base for your.
And it should give you the option to change it or customize it.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they were doing in the workshop, they gave it a prompt. So let's say, you see how you say you're a thought leader, and I work with women business owners. You may say, give me a flyer on a holiday deal where I'm offering 30% off for women in tech.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then it gave the output, like it gave the different samples. What else did she do? So some of the things that it looks like we normally would do exclusively in Canva, you can do now through ChatGPT with the plug-in because it has a prompt interface for you. So you can just communicate from that level. So, yeah.
Do you find it easier to communicate via chat, for ChatGPT via the Canva?
So remember, I have the paid version. I mean, the free version.
Oh, the free version.
So that's why the workshop for me was so lit. I was like, oh my goodness, what? And that's what made me, and I would recommend everyone else too. We have to start consuming this when we leave workshops and do the hands-on at the same time. Because the reason why I couldn't do my personal hands-on, because I was like, for the
Oh, okay. So I don't know why it's having a problem connecting with Canva. But let me go into Canva and just see if.
What was the outcome? Like monetary.
Okay. Let's.
I started on week 0 and did it for 30 days straight or 60 days straight. Like this was my case study. And I did these things for the 60 days. And then this is what generated behind it, you know?
Yeah, actually, that's something that we should do as a culture
I experiment.
here in class. Like, because we're going to have some sleepless nights coming out of this class, because you can run prompts to see how it can work. And if we did that,
You create your own.
like, get our own analytics and see what actually works.
I do have another thing though. Because, you know, I be doing all this little marketing stuff, right? And the thing about, like, let's say we're posting on Instagram, right? So it's one thing to use ChatGPT to create content for you, but it's another thing to make sure you have all the forever changing and evolving algorithms that happen on
Yeah.
this platform.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you using all these different hashtags differently, and they're not maybe as popular, may not be trending, and then you have this creative post that ChatGPT created for you, then your posts don't really go anywhere, you know? So, and it used to be if you were consistent with the right amount of hashtags that were trending, you have the probability of picking up on the algorithm and your post getting the visibility. But how do you, at that point, knowing that, leverage this to keep up with the consistency or inconsistency?
Right.
By looking at the
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I was going to say two things. By looking in your analytics, it'll tell you what your top performing hashtags are, right? But yes, on Instagram. Yeah. So if you look at your top performing posts, it's going to automatically tell you what are the hashtags that were linked to those posts. Now, it's not to say a hashtag that was going viral in 2020, you know, let's get rid of COVID or whatever, those hashtags aren't still going to be trending today, right? So if your approach to building your audience is through hashtags, then a part of your workflow has to be, I have to continuously research what the most trending hashtags are for my industry. So it's just learning how the platform of choice works. But I feel, honestly, because the algorithms change so often and none of us have control over the algorithms, it really comes down to the business decisions that the platforms are using. The best way to beat the algorithm is consistency. Because if you post something, Patricia, that engages with all of us, the algorithm is going to pick it up because we're picking it up. It's not going to necessarily be because there's a hashtag. It's because you post every day. It's something that's inspiring to me. And I go and see it and I'm like, dang, I really needed to hear that today. So I now like that. And then someone else who's following me sees it and likes it. So I feel the only way to really beat the algorithm is to be consistent and to be authentic with what you're trying to communicate. Right. Because the algorithm is always going to change anyway. It's like a never ending, and once you feel like you got it, then they're like, oh, too many people now know what it is, so we have to change it. So I was just trying to go into Canva because I do remember something, they had like some.
I think that in ChatGPT, next to Canva, do they have a little like checkbox?
It has a checkbox. It's just saying error fetching the plugins. So.
Is this the same way you would do that for the website? Like, is it a plugin as well?
I've never used the plugin of Canva. I was just wanting us to see if we could experiment with it together. I think
I'm thinking maybe take off the method with Canva and then see if it generates something
and then try to plug it in. Okay, let's see.
too much for it.
But all at once, you're like, no. All right, so let me just do a regular prompt. Let's just see how that goes, and then we'll baby step it. Go. Okay, let me take this off. Uncheck this. Okay.
I just checked out the video that said make sure you have that checkbox. So it might be something going on with the plugin.
It said make sure you have it checked.
Yeah, make sure you have it checked.
Yeah, I had it checked. We can try it. Try again. Good.
Where do you find the analytics on the hashtags?
For Instagram, let me see. I have not.
I know where you can find like the actual posts that are doing well.
Hold on. Let me just load this one, and then I will look into mine. Okay. Instagram. Yeah, so this is what tabular or table formatting is. Now, we'll see if we can now put that into, okay, let me let it generate and then I'll go back to the top. So what I also like using ChatGPT for is creating like a weekly schedule. Like, okay, these are all the things that I need to get done. I only have 4 hours on Monday. I only have 6 hours on Wednesday. I got to pick the kids up at this time. I need 8 hours of sleep. Create a 7-day schedule for me. I use that pretty much.
Mine is gonna send it back like, girl, you
Right.
This is a schedule?
No, this one was just because I wanted to try to engage with Canva. So I was just saying to come up with a social media strategy for 7 days. So something happened with the plugin.
They said, let's check out settings. It may, on the far, yeah, all the way down.
Here?
All the way down, you should have a setting. Yes. So it says setting and data. And something about activating the plugin there.
Yeah. I've been using some of the plugins. I just haven't used it with Canva.
It specifically kept saying Canva plugin.
Yeah.
So we got all our boxes checked out.
It could just not want to. Okay. I'm sorry. Yes. Where is the hashtag? I don't know if it changed, Patricia. I know I used to get like a weekly list of the hashtags that were most engaging, because then I would just keep copying and pasting those.
Yeah, that's
But
okay. So that was talking about because it doesn't show you yours, but you can see which ones are the top ones to sort of regenerate.
it used to show you. It used to show you yours. Yeah, instant.
I don't see that,
I feel like they're like, oh, you just using that, so we're gonna take it away.
but you can see which ones are the top.
Because it used to connect it with your post engagement. It would show which of the hashtags were connected with it. But let me play around with it. I'll see if I can find it. But it may have changed. But what is your hashtag approach, Patricia?
What's my hashtag?
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, it used to be this app, I forget what it's called, but it generates Instagram hashtags. And it would, like, you would put the interest,
Mhm.
and it would create the hashtags that were popular.
It was a website.
This was like years ago.
Okay.
And then you can, and then I just stuck with those.
Mhm.
And I just keep using them. I mean,
'Cause-
don't help me, I ain't telling you it's
That's why
But-
I'm wondering, like the hashtag thing. I don't think that's still. I wouldn't say it exists, but it used to be like huge.
more reliable. But you could also ask what are the most relevant hashtags for this post.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's usually what I do. I put something in and I'll have ChatGPT just.
Yeah, see, like, but here's the thing, that goes back to what we were talking about.
Mhm.
You're not gonna use these same hashtags for every post, because every post is gonna be something different.
Mhm.
So at that point, you confuse the algorithm, and you may not see the traffic that you're looking for.
But maybe you want to start with a base of hashtags that you know that are important for your brand.
Your industry. Mhm.
Okay,
Right. So one of mine, well, I just started called legacy related, and it allows me to tag stuff for my job, stuff that I'm doing in the community, anything that's legacy related.
Can you explain what that means? I'm sorry, I just came in kind of late on your introduction. Is that okay? And then we could just keep here and take time out.
No, please, yes, interaction, yes, please. Because actually, what can I just before you walked in? Remember I was telling you about the mixer event? It's her event, so you guys are already going to be connected anyway. Right.
Man, Legacy Lane Consulting is Legacy Lane Consulting. You know how you have different lanes? People are always saying stay in your lane, but we need to create a legacy lane because a lot of people are in their work lane, a lot of people are in their career lane, a lot of people are in the hustle lane. But how does that translate to the quality of life that you have now and in the future when you're not here? So, nobody wants to talk about life insurance. It's not sexy. It's not appealing, but it really is. And so, it really is.
Right.
So that's what I do. In Legacy Lane Consulting, we provide education in the legacy sector as well as AI now. So I started teaching AI in March, and it's been a fun journey. So between things that are legacy related for me, AI is legacy related right now because everything is about to change because of this type of exposure. And so I want is working. Okay, it's working. She said.
Okay. Yeah.
So exactly what she's doing. So if she was my client, not only would I give her education and customize a life insurance plan for her and her family, but we would find out what does a signature legacy experience look like for you. She's gonna say, I really excel in my business. She's gonna say, she's hearing some workout clothes. She's saying health is important. And so I will go to my network, and that's why I want AI to figure out how can I customize the signature legacy experience for my client. And I want them to feel empowered, and not just for the parent. It's important for us to treat humans as humans, meaning our children. And that's why legacy is kind of taboo, and kids, are thrusted into adulthood just because they're 18 and they're not ready or financially supported and prepared.
Yeah.
But the reason why we need you to get out is you need to go to make money. But something's wrong with that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's in a nutshell.
And also just connecting onto that, yeah. How we started talking was about how AI can create wealth. A wealth in terms of financial wealth, but then also a wealth of knowledge. And so we were talking about our community where we could talk about, the latest trend or this or that, but we don't talk about wills. We don't talk about trust. We don't talk about those things. So her business is empowering people through knowledge, but then also through wealth to create that legacy. So I thought that was really awesome.
So I just want to share a little bit, not to be like in the details, but it's so funny, ironic or not, because God makes no mistakes. That yesterday I was at a financial planning meeting. Oh, you recording?
Yeah. She got you? No. Yeah. Yeah.
Financial planning was, obviously where I am, we have all of these things, right? But we don't ever have like people of color that where we pull it all together. Right?
Yeah.
And I remember learning these things in college or when I was getting my master's, but it's like when you don't have money, you don't
Yep.
listen.
Exactly. You don't think it's for you. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I'm trying to buy some stuff.
Right. Buy a property. Your lane. Okay. You see how the lane comes in.
What we don't understand actually is that the younger you start, the benefit is so much more.
Right.
And we don't get that because it's presented to us that our first experience of seeing that is like, oh, people with money. You have to have that.
Yeah.
And so by being like the first generation of millionaires or whatever for a lot of African Americans now in this time period, we're just getting to that place where you're understanding that, but also the education of like, wow. Now, if I would have started that policy back when I was 20,
exactly.
What that looks like, because we can't see the future sometimes in our communities. We can't imagine being 40 or getting to 40 when we're 20.
Yeah.
So I think that it's And it's so needed in our community because, again, we get into these colleges, and especially, obviously, I didn't go to a HBCU, so I don't know what that experience is like, but
Yeah.
if you're into these colleges where there's 3% or less of us even there,
Yep.
all of that sounds like foreign stuff. You're
Right.
just trying to pass the facts. You're
Right.
not really processing what they're saying because it
Right.
doesn't feel like it's for our community. So
Yeah.
it's definitely needed.
Mhm.
I commend you on that.
Yeah.
It's just-
She's going to be one of the presenters, by the way. Yeah. I was-
That's where we are, is just trying to find ways to connect our community in the most positive ways, right? We know
Yeah.
all of our people, becoming different, everything.
Right.
But if we're really, the people that are really just trying to move the needle and move forward and really gather,
Right.
that's what we're doing. We're trying to do that. And we use real estate as one of those things, but it's just, we're such brilliant people and we're so disconnected from where our brilliance has come from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we're still here and we've survived and we've made it beyond all the things that our ancestors have been through.
Yeah. To be
say
here.
that our knowledge and our ability to be amazing is just
Right.
a conversation away
Yeah.
from each other. So
Yeah.
that's what-
And it.
Prompts away.
Right.
So now, imagine now when I meet with families who understand what you just said, now we can show them how ChatGPT, how they can get access to a trust.
Yeah.
Just not saying it has to be their trust, but at least they can say, hey, these are my assets. What trusts are available for the state of Florida? These are the types of things that I'm doing, right? But why would we have that conversation? Because normally we wouldn't. It's like, who do I talk to?
Right.
I don't specialize in trusts, right? However, AI is showing me that information can empower my client.
Yeah.
And with that, I already know they're carving out this space where I know they need to be, they deserve to be. And so I'm just like little tabloids, right? And it goes from something like a trust to them maybe wanting to interact with a chatbot that I created that has a database of life insurance education. Where because, believe it or not, when you sit down with a family, so the husband wants to have a different conversation with you. The wife is like, you're not going to be my beneficiary, it's going to be our kids. And so it's weird, and you have to respect people's privacy and their desires. I see it making what I'm going to be doing in regards to legacy futurism.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? So after you provide the education to your clients, do you have like a network of where you can kind of direct them to? Because I can give you my estate and then my trust for my family.
That's what I'm doing. So that's kind of like what I was mentioning last week. And I was like, families, they need that they need the network.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't have, if it's not a priority to you, why would you have a strategic alliance and network?
Yeah.
For things that you don't even really value at that time. So yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll introduce
Yeah.
you to Chris at our meeting if he's there to come to our event. He's with Rockefeller, so he said at the time that if they're African American, there's only like
One. Yeah. Yeah. You. One.
like there's not that many in the
Right.
position that he's in, but still an amazing connection for you to have, a resource and all those types of things. But yes.
Yeah. Actually, how we started the conversation, I was telling her my neighbor has a trust for her cat. And I was like, that's how we actually started the conversation. And I said, yeah, my neighbor, she has a trust for her cat. But our community, we only talk about those things at like a funeral or something like that. So we were just saying, and just on top of the conversation that, because she said when she's not around, she wants to make sure the cat is well taken care of. That was the reasoning. Yeah. And she said it with a straight face, so it's just in the nature. But just to your point, that's why I feel like even in a room of 10 of us, we're the example that the next person is looking for, right? So I can talk to you about a trust. I would maybe never have that conversation with someone because that person, like the lady who's getting a trust for her cat, that's abnormal, right? So now when you come into the conversation, you're like, oh, this is why you need to try. So our responsibility is to just carry it forward. Like you're mentioning, you guys are building a great platform where it's connecting people and making the things we need normal to people that look like us. So,
people that don't look like us too.
yeah.
We say that,
Mhm.
and I say that in that room, in this room, but I'm really just about people.
Yeah.
I mean, I love our people, and I'm for us 100%. But I'm also, I think the bigger part of us changing that narrative is that it's almost just like us as women. Like I am for men. I love the fact that men are our allies and that they support us.
Yeah.
Obviously, especially our black men, right? But in that, as women and as black women, we also have to make sure we keep those doors open for everybody.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem, right? That
Yeah.
everybody don't see us.
Mhm.
And we can't, in turn, be the same way with
Reverse it. Yeah.
So, just dropping that.
That's true. Do you want to show us the flyer that you made? Exactly.
I mean, I think it was because you said connected to Canva, but I kind of wrote um, the same prompt. Yeah.
Okay.
The prompt that you did, and then it literally just generated the flyers for me.
Cool. Yeah. Is it possible to connect her? No? Okay. Is it? I don't know why it didn't work for mine, but I'm glad. Did you? And
Put those pictures in, right? No, it literally, I just said create.
can we connect her PC? No.
It's a little technical.
You're like, okay, let me do it now. Or you could share a link on ChatGPT. If you share the link, maybe I could I don't know. Okay. Yeah?
But it's probably,
Just unplug this one? No.
show on here. I'll show on the recording, but I'll show.
I know you can send links, but I don't know that But she has a Mac, a PC.
You will not.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't know where I copied it to.
It's probably just copied, but you don't have to like paste it somewhere.
Um,
If she wants to put your name.
Jasmine, I'm sorry.
Who's this for?
This is Jasmine. Do you have is it connected to your phone? You could text it to me or? Because it's copied.
Oh, she probably could go.
Oh, yeah, okay, perfect.
Wait, but can I see the prompt?
For this one? Okay. She said she used the same prompt, but somehow her plugin worked. Yes. Oh, accept. Okay. Yay. Okay, we have something going. Yay. Okay, so.
Patricia, I missed the names, but I really like the idea what you said with the case study, and I think we should be our own little case study. I'll be the case study, because I'll do this so we can all see if it actually works.
I do it with you, because that's what I was on anyway.
That is awesome. Okay.
So we gotta exchange numbers.
continue this conversation.
Just the other day, I went to a LinkedIn workshop, and then the next day, the lady sent me a free premium subscription. So now I'm like, okay, well, I told her, I was like, can I just hold off for a few months so I can build out what I want to do before I actually use it? So I
Wow.
just feel like this is real aligned. I gotta learn how to do this. I'm gonna take over. This sounds good.
This is really good, actually, because it has layers of graphics. It's not just like a.
You have to put in specifically like
Yeah, I would have
very
very
much black people or something.
yeah, because it doesn't have my brand colors or my logo.
Okay, so
Because it's all in Canva, so I'm gonna try to figure out how to import it.
let's see. Please
Brand kit is on your
find graphic with women of color.
And then add brand kit. You say use her brand kit from Canva.
Well, it's on Illustrator, so now so she would have to.
I don't know if it's my it could be a Mac problem. I wonder. I don't know. I'm not trying to switch back to a PC. Oh, it's giving. This here?
Like, so they literally, you know, gave it a prompt and with the Canva plugin and it gave
Okay.
different options.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because then you can tell it, like your image. The problem is, so can we get some black folks?
I know. I prompted it. I said, "Can you revise it with women of color?" And this is it.
Is your camera like logged in and stuff? Like, are you logged in?
Yeah, I'm logged in here, and I know there are pictures of black women in Canva. For Canva. Mm-hmm.
It's just that I'm giving her,
It didn't change the women at all, or made them more tan or something. Because it changed it, but it didn't. Okay, let me maybe just put black women.
It looks like it, what if you say black?
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking that, which will lead into the next part of the the next part of the conversation. Okay, please use.
That even in these spaces, after all this time, still,
We're going to talk about why that is.
like, why the images are not like different black, brown.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had that when we were doing our listing presentation. I sent it to a company and they did it, and I'm like,
We need.
that
Right.
offer me, like people are fine.
I'm.
Can I get a brown child? I don't know. I can make my own.
I'm gonna jump to the. I'm gonna just jump quickly to the ethnic and AI best practices, because this is leading into that, and then we'll leave some time so we can play back with this. But basically, one of the reasons why we're not as represented as we want to be, a part of it is because we consume a lot, we don't produce a lot. And so what ChatGPT and algorithms, the data that they're pulling from is the data that's on the internet. And so if you look at whose voice is typically on the internet, it's not people that look like us. So even when we were talking before about, use a black person's tone, that black person's tone has been coded by someone who is not a black person. It's probably not a black woman. So the more that we create and publish and promote our content, then it will level out what our voice looks like, what our voice sounds like. Because now it's just gonna be that stereotypical, so even I'm afraid to see what it comes back with when I put in, use images of black women. It could be, I don't know, someone in a safari, like it could be whatever the idea of a black woman is, It could be Aunt Jemima, right? So then we can't also be offended that we're not representing ourselves well if we're not constantly promoting, publishing, and putting new content out there.
Can you put some reminders in this? I need to say something along the lines of it doesn't know. I didn't say
so in the of a black
Right. Yeah.
Oh, is that real? Or are you saying that's real?
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait, I thought
Right. Like when?
Oh, like no, with witness task. So you say, as a black female influencer
Yeah.
with witness sass, who is a professional copywriter or
Right.
everything else.
I also, if I'm really getting serious, I could be like, use the tone of Michelle Obama. Use the tone of Oprah. Use the tone of Viola Davis. And it'll pull from their quotes and like different things they've said in interviews. So it just depending on what the end result is that you want to get, you can use a specific tone.
And what you just said, you said depending on
What the outcome is that you want.
right?
Yeah.
That's the first step in prompting is understanding the
Right.
like that part.
Yeah.
Because I think when people in educational spaces are like, oh, AI is X, Y, and Z, and it's like, if the student understands,
Right.
like they're prompting, the cognitive level is already where it needs to get. You could tell
Yep.
the quality of personal cognitive level based on
What they, yeah. Yeah. And then it's also your responsibility to get clear on what your tone is. Because if you're trying to have a tone of someone else, it's probably not going to be authentic. Like my tone, I can't be witty or sassy. I'm like, it's just not like, I'm like nerdy and you just got to own your own tone. So yes, we need. Mhm.
like you know how so if we could put in our own post like our original
Yeah.
and say, hey, what tone do you see
Right.
post,
It can self-reflect. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so I know everyone's always talking about like what is the latest tools, what is it? There are now thousands of AI tools. So I just put the ones that I use the most often, just as a starting point. I do feel like it can be overwhelming if you're trying to learn all the tools. I think if you're going to use it for your like personal branding, find the one that you like, because each of them have like a different user interface. So has anyone heard of Rimini?
Yes. That's
Have,
what make it look all pretty, so you
yeah.
know.
With Rimini, I loved it because I needed to update my website, but I was like on the road, I was traveling, I didn't have any time to do any like photo shoots or anything like that. So Rimini is a phone app, and I just put in some selfies. I think one I was at like the tennis court, one I was like, I don't know, doing something. And then you can select a template. I'll show you guys actually the photos that it generated, and I was completely shocked. I actually wish I had put them up here now.
But do you guys feel like the downside of this whole AI while you're looking for photos is that they're constantly capturing our data, our wants, needs, looks, features, all of these things to eventually like recreate us?
What do you mean recreate us?
Like, I don't know if you guys have seen this movie that's out. It's about an AI about these people, right? But the idea is that they are taking the faces of people, like, who exist. And then as they create these robots, or full of our data, right? So it's like black rubber data, however you act, whatever you think. But they're always, the computers, AI is always self-correcting, right? Because we're correcting it. And as it grows, it's getting more information and data of what each of us want, right?
Right.
But as a whole, it's still collecting all this information. At some point, it will also understand our biases, our prejudices, our everything, right? Because we already have that in our home with Alexa, with the phone, with the watch,
Right.
all these things that are listening and watching, right?
Yeah.
So as they gather it, they're also doing the face thing, right? Where they're going through face images.
Right.
People have been taking pictures or sending you back like 10 pictures of how you could look better than what you look like.
Yep, Rimini. Yep, exactly. Yep, that's what it is.
Oh, that's what that is?
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's that, it's almost like the whole idea of taking our DNA or taking our children through abortion and rewrite all of those things that are like part of us and our culture, but all the cultures
Yeah.
are being collected. And just some of the scientists who are behind AI and what it's doing, he's
Yeah.
talking about, but the computer is not going to end. Like it's not going to stop.
Right.
And then how do you stop it? Maybe
Right.
we don't live to see all of that.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd know.
I'm on both sides of it. I'm on both sides because I feel like we live in a world now where if you walk from here to your car, there's been 100 data points collected of you that you're not even aware of, right? So then that's already happening. Like that conversation happened. You remember Enemy of the State? When Will Smith, they had like the little guy, like now with AI, we're so far beyond that. But even in that setting, you would have to not have a bank. You would have to not travel. You would have to not use the internet. You literally would have to be so extreme, disconnected from the grid. Like you would literally, I don't know where you would be, where you would be off the grid, where no one can collect a data point. And so that's what AI is doing. It's collecting data points, and then its job is to make these data points make it easier for me to not have to give it so many data points. So it's doing its job, but then at the same time, it can get to a very scary place. Like if you look at a lot of the like documentation on why there was a halt to, I think the last version of ChatGPT, it could go very far. But I feel like we have to be in the rooms where the policy is being made so that we can now lend our voice to, okay, this I feel is harmful. This I feel is risky. So I think we need to be in the room where it's happening and where it's being spoken about and where those laws are being made. But I don't feel like, exactly. But I don't think not using it is I feel like it's gonna be more detrimental than, I feel if you don't use it, you're gonna be so far behind, it's going to be hard for you to catch up. Exactly. Exactly. Right. It's like you don't want AI to track you, and you're using Zelle, you're using Amazon. Like you're using AI, right? You're using Instacart. You're using Instacart. So it's kind of like you're all in or you're all out. There's no, double dutching into. Exactly. No. You can, but then you'd be like a caveman, kind of like what's those shows where people live on the woods? They're like chopping their own tree, but they're still their satellites that can. Yeah. Yeah. Chat GPT, yeah. Order it. Instacart has a. Yeah. Yeah, I love Instagram. If you if you say, hey, I have potatoes and this in my refrigerator, come up with a recipe. It'll create that recipe and then it'll say, okay, you're missing these items, and then it can connect through the back end to Instacart and put it into your. I haven't taken it that far. Like I don't connect it with things that I don't use for work stuff, but I. Right.
But to speak to what you said, let your concern guide you to the area where you're gonna consume and learn the most, and that's how we get in those rooms.
Yeah.
And I also want to add, I just read an article over the weekend about it's the Black Chat GPT.
Oh, yeah.
An AI model trained with diversity and inclusivity in mind. It's called Vladimir. It's not completely out yet, but it's designed by a Black man. He named it Vladimir to Vladimir. It's Latimer.
Vladimir.
Latimer.
So he don't name it a name. It's like
Bob. Like, oh, you like.
So pretty much he says like we're establishing the building blocks of what the future of AI needs to include, right? And in doing so, we're working to create an equitable and necessary layer of technology that can be utilized by all So it's for all, but it's really like that back end of.
Right.
Yeah.
Our voice. You know,
Right,
like,
right, which we're gonna appreciate that here, then what's gonna happen is the other company will start to reflect.
Build off of it. Yeah. Yeah. Or partner. There's a lot of collaboration happening now.
Our focus and try to get into Latin America. So, okay.
And I think the other speaker that was here for September, his name is Marlon. I think he's also creating a diverse AI. I'm not sure.
Own language model. So, Marlon is our AI instructor at work for me. And, but I also interact with him in the business space. And he has created his own large language model based on your specific data. So instead of like ChatGPT being based on all of the internet, you can take your data, your PDFs, your CRM list, your YouTube videos, your customer reports or whatever, and have that be what you interface with. So you can say based on all the data that's, you know, in the large language model, what's the best route for increasing our sales this last quarter and spearheading, you know, sales in the new quarter, in the new year, something like that. And it's based on your information. So for me, so when I went to his workshop, I was like this. I came in late because I was coming from work and I saw all this stuff going on and I was just in the back like I couldn't sit down. So I'm looking at what he has on the screen and I'm trying to find it on Google. And so at the end I was like, yo, how can I get that? And he's like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like, do I have a budget for that? So my job found the budget. And the reason why I'm expressing this excitement because it's like a black man in the space of AI.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
At a time like this, how can I be down? What can I do to support him?
Yeah.
And what can I do to learn? So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's doing the most over there. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much synergy available.
Yeah.
And him hearing these types of conversations because AI spaces do not always look like us. Look, they don't look like us.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking to him, I'm like, we need you over here. We need you over here. So I feel like in the AI spaces, we need a different type of support.
Yeah.
We need a different type of collaboration. We need a different type of accountability and expectation when it comes to this because we really, you know how that African proverb says it takes a village to raise a child? It takes a village to consume AI. Because quantum shifts that are happening. And we can't afford
To be behind. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's why we came.
Hey. Well, it's 7. I just have, if there's any questions, I did have some closing remarks and calls to action. And it's just leverage AI. Just piggybacking on what you were saying, like we have to get involved. I think the best way to start is just experimenting with your day-to-day life. Be aware that there is bias, but as we mentioned now with Latimer and then even Marlon could probably find the tool he's using. There are platforms being built for us that reflects us more accurately. Keep experimenting and then just produce, publish, and promote. So, yeah. And here's my information. I remember, so this was done by Rimini, this picture here.
So based on the pictures you sent them, they created this.
Yeah, and it was like some jacked up selfies. I was just like, let me just test it out. Let me just see. And I was like, okay,